I want you to picture a number. Just hold in your head for a second. 200 billion. That is the daily view count on YouTube Shorts as of, early 2026.
It's a number that doesn't really mean anything. It's too big.
It totally breaks your brain. You can't visualize it. 200 billion views every single day.
Right. It's just an abstraction at that point.
It is. And it tells you that this isn't just some, feature on a video app anymore. This is, and I don't think this is an exaggeration, this is arguably the primary way the human species is consuming information right now.
Downloading it, yeah. It's the new fire hose.
But here's the problem, and this is exactly why we're doing this deep dive today for almost everyone listening. Creators, brands, even if you're just curious. That 200 billion number, it feels like it's happening on another planet.
It absolutely does. They see the headline, 200 billion daily views, and then they open their own analytics and it says 12 views, and 6 of those were them.
Exactly. And it feels like a lottery. It feels totally random. You pull the lever on one video, you get nothing. You pull it again with a video that feels exactly the same, and boom, 1 million views.
It's that feeling of, what did I do right? Or, more often, what did I do wrong?
And my mission today, with your help, is to prove that it is not random, it is not a lottery.
It's definitely not. I like to say it's physics. It's a mechanical system. There are inputs and there are outputs. And if you understand the mechanics, you can influence the outcome.
Physics. I love that. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. We've got a huge stack of industry analysis here. We're looking at some algorithmic breakdowns from Shortimize and Vazel. We have creative playbooks from sources like Opus Clip and Join Brands.
And we've even got the latest 2025 and 2026 policy updates from places like Upgrowth and WebPro News, which are super important, especially around AI.
So the goal is to reverse engineer the machine, to move past just hoping.
Yeah, we need to retire a strategy that I think 90% of people listening are probably still using.
And what's that?
The post and pray method.
Ah, yes, my favorite.
Yeah. The idea that if you just throw enough stuff at the wall, eventually the algorithm god will smile down and bless one of your videos. That strategy is dead. In 2026, you are playing a game against a very specific set of rules. And if you don't know the rules, you will lose.
Okay, let's open up the rulebook. The first concept I see here in the Shortimize report, it sounds like a military strategy. It's called the explore and exploit system.
It actually comes from data science, but yeah, it feels like a military strategy when you're in the trenches creating content.
Yeah.
This is the fundamental mechanic of how a short lives or dies. And it explains that feeling we just talked about, why your video can sit at 0 views for hours or even days and then suddenly explode.
So walk me through it. I hit the upload button on a brand new short. What happens? Does it go to everyone in the wild?
No. And that's probably the biggest misconception out there. When you hit upload, your video enters phase 1, which is explore. YouTube does not trust you yet.
It doesn't know if my video is good or not.
Exactly. So it takes your video and it shows it to a tiny, tiny little slice of people. They call this a seed audience.
And how tiny are we talking?
I mean, depending on your channel's history and topic, it could be a few hundred, maybe 1,000 if you're lucky. And this is a stress test. The algorithm is basically saying, okay, I'm going to show this to 500 people who I think like this kind of content. Let's see what they do.
So it's like a focus group.
It is a ruthless, unforgiving focus group. Good analogy is like a comedian trying out new material at a small, dark dive bar before they film their big Netflix special.
Right. They need to see if the jokes land with a small crowd first.
Exactly. And if the dive bar doesn't laugh, if they just stare blankly, or worse, check their phones, you don't get the Netflix special. The material's dead.
So if that seed audience swipes away immediately, if they don't engage, the algorithm essentially just marks the video as a failure.
Correct. It stops the distribution cold. The pipe just closes. That's why you see those videos that get stuck at like 387 views forever. They didn't survive the explore phase.
That is so painful to hear because you think you're shadow banned or the app is broken or something. But in reality, you just failed the focus group.
You failed the focus group. Precisely.
Yeah.
But if you pass, if that seed audience watches and rewatches and likes and shares, well, then you trigger phase 2, exploit.
Exploit has such a negative vibe, but I'm guessing in this context, it's a very good thing.
In data science, exploit just means to maximize a proven signal. And yeah, for a creator, it is a glorious thing. The system says, okay, this works. The data from the seed audience proves it. and then it opens the floodgates.
Then that's the hockey stick.
That is the hockey stick graph.
Right.
That's when it pushes the video out to a much broader, much colder audience, and your phone starts buzzing and doesn't stop for 3 days.
Okay, so the entire game, at least at the beginning, is to survive the focus group, to get that exploit phase to trigger. But to do that, you have to hit certain metrics. And the Vasil report here says that the old king of metrics click-through rate is dead.
It's completely irrelevant for shorts.
Which makes total sense, right? I don't click on a short. It sort of attacks me when I'm scrolling.
Attacks you is the perfect way to put it.
Yeah.
The video starts playing before your brain has even consciously decided to watch it. You haven't made a choice to click on a thumbnail. So CTR, it means nothing. The new God metric, the one that matters more than anything else, is viewed versus swiped.
Okay, define that for us. Because I see it in my analytics dashboard, but honestly, my eyes usually just glaze over it.
You have to stop glazing. It is the most important number on your entire dashboard. It's a simple percentage of all the people whose feed your video slides onto. What percentage of them stop the scroll to actually watch it?
Versus the percentage that just keep that thumb moving.
Yeah. They see your face for a microsecond, and they are gone.
So it's basically the Tinder metric for content. Left swipe or right swipe.
It is exactly that. It's a split-second subconscious judgment on your value proposition. And the benchmarks. They're terrifying.
Okay, hit me with it. What's a passing grade? What do I need to aim for?
Okay, so if you are seeing a viewed rate of 50%.
50? 1 out of 2.
Right. If 1 out of 2 people stop to watch your video, you are failing.
Wait, what? 50% is failing. In school, that's an F, but it's still half. In baseball, if you hit 50% of the time, you're the greatest human to ever live.
In the Shorts feed, 50% means the algorithm views your content as mediocre. It's average. You are basically flipping a coin with the user's attention, and YouTube doesn't want to bet on a coin flip.
Wow.
The exploit phase, that massive push we talked about, that generally only kicks in when you are consistently hitting a 70 to 90% viewed rate.
70 to 90, that is an unbelievably high bar.
Yeah.
That means I have to convince 8, maybe 9 out of 10 complete strangers to stop what they're doing
Yeah.
instantly.
Yes.
So how much time do I actually have to do that to convince them?
Well, the data from the report says you have less than 3 seconds. But honestly, from what I see in the wild, it feels closer to half a second. It's almost subliminal.
It's a gut reaction, not a conscious thought.
It is. And this is why the psychology of the hook section in this Opus Clip report is so vital. You're not battling for their logical interest. You are battling their thumb's muscle memory. The user is in a trance.
Oh, I know that trance. I call it the zombie scroll.
The zombie scroll. Perfect. You're not even really looking at the screen anymore. You're just swiping, swiping.
Swipe it.
Your job in that first half second is to break the trance.
How do you do that? How do you break a zombie's trance?
You do it with what psychologists call a curiosity gap.
Okay, unpack that term.
A curiosity gap is all about creating a specific kind of intellectual distress. It's a little bit mean, actually. You present the viewer with a piece of information or a visual or a question that creates a nagging feeling of not knowing.
You open a loop in their brain.
Precisely. And the human brain hates an open loop. It finds it deeply uncomfortable. The only way to resolve that discomfort, to scratch that mental itch, is to watch the video.
So you're basically weaponizing their own curiosity against them, annoying their brain into paying attention.
In a way, yes. And Opus Clip gives us 3 very specific tactical formulas to do this. These aren't just theories. They're almost like scripts.
All right, let's run through them. The first one they list is the pattern interrupt.
This one is designed specifically to fight the zombie scroll. The goal is to shatter the viewer's scrolling autopilot.
So something unexpected.
Something totally unexpected. It could be a sudden movement like a person falling into the frame. It could be a strange visual like an orange flying through a living room. Or, and this is very powerful, it can be a verbal contradiction.
A verbal contradiction, like the example they use here. I made more money when I stopped posting daily.
Yes, that's a perfect one. Because the viewer's brain has a pre-existing model. They think, wait a minute, that's not right. Everyone says you had to post daily to grow.
Yeah.
That contradiction creates the curiosity gap. Now they have to watch to resolve it.
That's really spilling. You're forcing them to engage just to prove you wrong or to figure out why your experience is different from the common wisdom.
Exactly. Their ego gets involved. Okay, so the second formula is what they call the direct promise. This is less about mystery and more about being very transactional.
The transaction. What am I trading?
You're trading value for their time. But the key here, and where most people fail, is that it requires brutal specificity.
So not just, here's a tip about video editing.
No, that's way too weak. That's a topic, not a promise. A direct promise would be, this 5-second editing trick doubled my watch time.
I see the difference immediately. One is a vague subject. The other is a clear, tangible payoff. You're telling me, give me 30 seconds of your life, and in return, I will give you the secret to double watch time.
It's a clear contract with the viewer. And the third formula is the self-identifying question. This one relies on something called the Barnum effect. It's like how horoscopes work.
Right, where it feels intensely personal and specific to you, but actually it applies to millions of people.
That's it. So you start your video by asking something like, do you batch create your content but still struggle with consistency?
And if you're a creator watching that,
Your brain almost involuntarily stops the scroll and goes, yes, that is me. I have that exact problem. What's the solution? You've made them feel seen.
you're essentially holding up a mirror to their specific pain point.
But there's a huge, huge trap here that this Join Brands report highlights, and I see creators fall into it constantly.
What's the trap?
You can have the most brilliant verbal hook in the world, the perfect question, the most intriguing promise. But you have to remember that a massive chunk of your audience is what I call the silent scroller.
People watching on the bus or in bed next to their sleeping partner or in a boring meeting at work.
Exactly. Sound off. If your hook relies 100% on audio, you lose all of them. They'll just swipe right past. You need a powerful visual hook that works independently of the sound.
So the visuals have to tell the story on their own.
They have to communicate the premise in that first half second. And Join Brands points to Mr. Beast as the absolute undisputed master of this.
Well, Mr. Beast is the master of everything YouTube, but what does he do specifically for shorts that's so smart visually?
He uses high-stakes visual challenges immediately on screen, often with text overlays. For example, he'll have a shot of a giant red circle painted on the ground with 10 people standing in it, and the text on screen says, last person to leave this circle wins $100,000.
Right, you don't need to hear his voice, you don't need any audio at all to understand the drama.
None. You see the circle, you see the people, you see the prize money. The entire premise, the stakes, the drama, it's all communicated visually in frame one.
That circle example is perfect because it's also universal. I could speak zero English and still understand stay in circle, win money.
And that visual clarity, that instantaneous understanding, that contributes directly to getting that viewed versus swiped metric above 70%. If they understand the premise visually in 0.5 seconds, they're much more likely to stop and give you another 3.
Okay, this is making so much sense. So, we've used our hook, we've interrupted the pattern, stopped the scroll, and beaten the swipe. But now we have to actually keep them. That brings us to the next section in these guides, creative best practices. Because getting them to start watching is only half the battle.
It's really less than half, because the algorithm cares so deeply about retention. And specifically, a metric called completion rate.
This is where the math gets a little counterintuitive, isn't it? Because my gut tells me longer watch time is always better. If someone watches 45 seconds of my 60-second video, that seems way better than them watching all 20 seconds of a 20-second video.
It seems that way, but it's not how the algorithm sees it. The algorithm is obsessed with the percentage of the video that was consumed. So a 30-second video with an 83% completion rate will almost always outperform a 60-second video with only a 33% completion rate.
So if I make my video longer than it needs to be and people get bored and leave, I'm actively punishing myself.
You are. You're sending a direct signal to the algorithm that says, my content isn't engaging enough to hold attention until the end. And the ultimate goal here, the real super signal that tells YouTube you have a banger, is to push your average view duration, your AVD, over 100%.
Over 100%. How is that even possible? That means people are watching it more than once.
Yes. It means they're looping it. That signal tells the system, this content is so valuable or so entertaining or so dense with information that a single viewing wasn't enough. That is pure rocket fuel for the exploit phase.
Okay, so how do we engineer that?
The best tactic is to build a perfect loop.
I see these all the time now, and they're so effective. It's where the video ends, but you don't even realize it's ended. It just flows seamlessly back to the beginning.
And the tactical tip from the reports here is to cut on motion. So if you end your video by, say, whipping your hand past the camera lens to cover it.
Then you have to start the next shot with your hand moving away, uncovering the lens.
Bingo. It creates this kind of infinite cylinder of content. It makes it very hard for the viewer's brain to find the natural exit point. The other technique is verbal looping.
So using the script itself.
Yeah, you literally write your script so the last sentence flows grammatically and logically into the first sentence.
Can you give me an example of that?
Sure. So maybe the video ends with you saying, and that is the number one reason why. And then the video immediately loops back to the very beginning, where the first thing you say is, you need to focus on your hook.
And that is the number one reason why. You need to focus on your hook.
Oh, that's really smooth. Devious, even.
It catches people completely off guard. They might watch that loop 2 or 3 times before their brain even registers that the video has restarted. And each time, you're juicing that AVD metric.
It's just fascinating how technical this all gets. This isn't just filming a quick video. It's engineering a very specific psychological experience. And speaking of the technical side, we have to talk about formatting. The sources are pretty adamant about this idea of being vertical native. It's completely non-negotiable at this point. Obviously, we're talking about the 9.16 aspect ratio. But it's so much more than just holding your phone the right way when you film. You have to respect the user interface.
The UI, you mean the buttons and text that YouTube overlays on top of my video?
Exactly. The like button, the comment button, the channel name, the progress bar. The entire bottom right of the screen is basically a graveyard for your content. It's covered in engagement buttons. The bottom left has your channel name and the audio track. If any of your critical action or your text overlays fall into those zones, they just get obscured.
And it looks super amateurish.
It looks sloppy, and it's frustrating for the viewer. And a frustrated viewer swipes away. The rule of thumb they give is to keep all critical action and text within the central 75% of the frame. Think of it as your safe zone.
That's a great, simple rule. Keep it in the middle. Now, I saw something in one of these reports about audio that kind of scared me. They call it the copyright trap because, we all love using trending audio, that latest pop song, to get a little boost.
And you should. It can be a great tool for discoverability and tapping into a cultural moment. But, and this is a massive warning for creators, in 2026, the rules change dramatically the second your video hits 61 seconds long.
Because, and this is a perfect segue, shorts can now be up to 3 minutes long. That was a big change.
A huge change. As of late 2025, that limit increased. But here's the trap. The YouTube Shorts audio picker, that library of popular songs you can add right inside the app, that music is generally only cleared for use in videos that are 60 seconds or less.
So if I spend a whole day making a beautiful 90-second mini documentary and I put a big pop song in the background using the apps tool,
the algorithm might just mute your entire video or block it in key countries. Imagine spending hours editing a 3-minute masterpiece, and then it goes live with 0 audio because of a music licensing issue.
that is an absolute nightmare scenario. So the advice is, if you're going long, you need to use royalty-free music or music you have a license for.
100%. If you're creating a short that is over 60 seconds, you have to start thinking of it like a traditional long-form YouTube video. Own your audio. Don't rely on the in-app library.
This whole shift to 3 minutes is a huge topic in these industry reports. It really starts to blur the line between traditional short-form and long-form content. But the big question they all ask is, just because we can make a 3-minute short, should we?
That is the million-dollar question. And for most creators, I'd say the 3-minute limit is like giving them enough rope to hang themselves.
Wow, how so?
Because of that retention math we just talked about, a 3-minute video has to justify its existence every single second. The viewer's commitment is higher, and so are the algorithm's expectations. If you make a 3-minute video and people, on average, drop off at the 45-second mark, your completion rate is a dismal 25%.
Which the algorithm sees as a massive failure.
A huge failure. It punishes you more than if you had just made a tight, well-paced 45-second video that everyone finished.
So the bar for your storytelling, your editing, your pacing, it goes up exponentially the longer you go.
Exactly. Don't go long just because you can.
Yeah.
Go long because the story demands that length. And to help creators understand this better, YouTube has actually updated how they even count views. We're moving into an era of something called engaged views.
Okay, what's the difference between a raw view and one of these new engaged views?
So after a change in March 2025, the definition of a view got really loose. Basically, any playback, even for a split second, counted. This massively inflated the raw view numbers. It looked great for the ego, but it was really noisy, unhelpful data.
It was a vanity metric.
Total vanity metric. Engaged views, on the other hand, filters for people who watched beyond a certain threshold. The exact threshold can vary, but think of it as, say, watching at least 10 seconds or a significant percentage of the video. It gives you a much truer picture of your actual performance.
So I have 1 million views, but only 10,000 engaged views.
You don't have a hit video. You have a video with a great hook and a terrible body. You have a clickbait problem.
That's actually super helpful. It stops you from deluding yourself.
Mhm.
Now, there's another major update that WebPro News was covering, this one related to search, that I think is a real game changer, especially for smaller channels.
Oh, the search revamp from early 2026 is fascinating, and it's so important. So YouTube made two key changes. They renamed the Sort By menu to Prioritize, and crucially, they completely removed the View Count filter.
Wait, they got rid of the ability to sort search results by view count. That's huge. That's how I always used to find the best videos on a topic.
And that's exactly the user behavior and the bias they're trying to break.
Mm.
That old system created a rich get richer dynamic. The video with the most views would show up first, so it would get even more views, and it would just stay at the top forever, even if better content came along.
It cemented the incumbents.
Totally. By removing that filter and shifting the language to prioritize, they're signaling a massive shift in philosophy away from raw popularity and towards contextual relevance.
So what does that mean for me? If I'm a small channel with 500 subscribers, but I create the most comprehensive, high-quality, relevant answer to a very specific search query.
You now have a fighting chance to rank right alongside the giants with millions of subscribers. The algorithm is being trained to look for the best answer for that specific user, not just the biggest answer overall. It really helps to democratize discovery.
That gives me so much hope. It means quality can actually win. The little guy has a shot.
A real shot. And they also added a shorts filter to search. So users can now specifically choose to see only shorts in their results or to exclude them entirely.
That makes a lot of sense. It respects the user's intent or their mode.
Exactly. It's an acknowledgement that sometimes you want a quick snack of information, and sometimes you want a full 3-course meal. Sometimes I just want to learn how to tie a bow tie in 15 seconds. Other times I want a 20-minute documentary on the history of the necktie.
And now you can tell YouTube which mode you're in. I love that. Okay, we absolutely have to address the robot in the room. AI. It's 2026. AI is integrated into everything we do. But YouTube has recently laid down the law when it comes to transparency. What do creators need to know about this?
This is a critical policy update that Upgrowth has been covering. YouTube now mandates disclosure for certain types of AI-generated content, or AIGC. But there's a really important nuance here that a lot of creators get wrong.
Okay, so what's the distinction? Because I use AI tools all the time to maybe fix the color grading in my videos or clean up the background noise in my audio. Do I have to label that stuff?
No. Those kinds of minor touch-ups, color correction, sound cleanup, generating background music, that's all fine. The platform considers that just part of the production process. The mandate is for what they call hyper-realistic synthetic media.
Hyper-realistic synthetic media, so fake stuff that looks real.
Exactly. If you use AI to create a realistic-looking person who doesn't actually exist and have them talk, or if you use an AI voice cloner to make a real person, like a politician, say something they never actually said. Or if you simulate a realistic-looking event, like a building fire or a protest that never actually happened.
So deepfakes, essentially.
Deepfakes, synthetic events, things that could mislead a viewer about reality. If you create that kind of content, you must label it using the modified or synthetic tool right there in the uploader.
And what happens if I don't? If I try to be sneaky about it?
The stakes are really high. We're talking about content removal, a strike on your channel, or even being suspended from the YouTube Partner Program and losing all monetization. It is not a slap on the wrist.
You know, it feels like this isn't just about the platform covering its bases. It feels like it's about trust.
It is entirely 100% about trust. Just think about it from the viewer's perspective. Imagine you watch this incredibly moving personal story, a short, about someone overcoming a rare disease, for example, and it brings you to tears. And then you find out later that the person was a synthetic avatar and the entire story was fabricated by a language model.
You feel completely betrayed. You'd feel scammed.
Totally scammed. And once a viewer feels that way, they will never trust that creator again. So while the platform is protecting itself from large-scale misinformation, it's also helping creators protect the long-term value of their relationship with their audience.
That's a great way to look at it.
Transparency is actually a branding asset here. The advice shouldn't be to hide the robot. It should be to be honest and open about how you're using these incredible tools. Be a human using tools, not a tool pretending to be a human.
I love that. Be a human using tools, not a tool pretending to be human. All right, let's talk about the fun part, the money. Show me the money. How does the monetization model for shorts look here in 2026?
It's stabilized, but it's still fundamentally different from how long-form video works.
Yeah.
In long-form, you get paid for ads that play before, during, or after your specific video. You kind of own that ad slot.
Right, but in shorts, the ads don't play on your video. They play between videos in the feed.
Exactly. So you can't claim the revenue from a specific ad. Instead, it's a pooled model. All the revenue from the ads shown in the Shorts feed goes into one giant creator pool.
And then they divvy it up?
Yep. And as a creator, you get 45% of that allocated pool, distributed based on your channel's share of the total Shorts views for that month. So it's a volume game.
Which means you're probably not going to buy a Lamborghini off the ad revenue from one single viral short.
Extremely unlikely. The RPMs, the revenue you earn per 1,000 views, are still significantly lower for Shorts than for long form. But the real monetary value, as a lot of these sources point out, isn't necessarily the direct ad revenue. It's about using Shorts as a bridge.
A bridge to what?
A bridge to your long-form content and to your business. Shorts are the perfect gateway drug for your channel. They're low-commitment, easily discoverable entry points for new viewers.
And if someone likes your short?
If they like your short, the algorithm is now much more likely to test one of your longer videos in their feed. And that's where the real money and the deeper community building happens.
Because long form generally pays better per view and builds a much deeper sense of loyalty.
Way better.
Yeah.
So the smart strategy isn't just get views on shorts. It's use shorts to strategically funnel new audiences into the deeper ecosystem of your channel. Use a short as a trailer for a longer video. Use it to answer one small part of a larger question, and then direct them to the full video for the complete answer.
That makes so much sense. It's not shorts or long form. It's shorts and long form working together in a holistic system. But to make any of this work, to feed this beast, you have to be consistent. And this is where I really struggle, and I know a lot of people listening do too. The content treadmill is exhausting. How do we survive it without burning out?
Shortimize has a really interesting way of looking at this. They call it the sample size theory. They argue that posting frequently matters, but not because of some magic best time to post algorithm, which they say flat out doesn't exist, by the way.
So it's not about posting at 3 p.m. on a Tuesday.
Nope. It's simply about math. You need a large sample size of videos to find the winners. You can't accurately judge your channel's potential based on 10 or 20 videos. The data is just too noisy. It's not statistically significant.
So you need to make enough videos to even know what's working.
Exactly. Their data shows that channels with over 200 shorts uploaded tend to see much more consistent, predictable growth simply because they have enough data points to see the patterns. They know what kind of hook works for their audience. They know what topics resonate.
So in a way, quantity eventually leads to quality, or at least quantity leads to understanding what quality looks like for your specific audience.
That's a perfect way to put it. You have to churn through some of the bad ideas to find the good ones. But, and this is a key warning from Join Brands, there's a limit. They warn against spamming the feed.
Is there a hard cap on how many you can post a day?
There's no hard cap, but there seems to be a soft cap on how many videos from a single creator the algorithm will show to a single user in a short period of time. It wants to provide variety. So if you post 5 videos in 1 hour, it's just a waste of content. The algorithm isn't going to flood one person's feed with only you.
So what's the sweet spot then?
For most channels, 1 to 3 times per day is the maximum effective frequency. Anything more than that, and you start to see heavily diminishing returns.
That's actually a huge relief to hear. It means I don't have to be posting every single hour. I can batch create.
Batching is the only way to survive long-term. It's the only way to stay sane. You have to dedicate a block of time to film 5 or 10 scripts in one setting, then another block of time to edit them all at once. If you try to wake up every single morning and think, what am I going to post today? And go through the entire process from scratch, you will burn out. It is 100% guaranteed.
Okay, let's try to bring this all home. We have covered a ton of ground here. We've got the explore and exploit system, that terrifying 70% viewed versus swiped benchmark, the psychological curiosity gap hooks, the visual loops, the shift to relevance in search, AI disclosure. It's a lot. If you had to distill all of this down for the person listening who is holding their phone right now, thinking about what to record, what is the formula for 2026?
I think it comes down to 4 main pillars. Pillar 1, the hook. You have less than 3 seconds, maybe only 1, to interrupt the pattern and stop that zombie scroll. You have to master that.
Okay, the hook.
Pillar 2, retention. Don't just get them to start watching, get them to finish. Be ruthless with your editing. Use loops to push that AVD over 100%.
Retention is king. Got it.
Pillar 3, Optimization. You have to watch that viewed versus swiped metric like a hawk. It is your North Star. If it's consistently under 50 or 60%, your hooks are not working. Go back to the drawing board.
And the last one.
Pillar 4, sustainability. You have to build a system for yourself. Batch creation is not optional. This is a marathon, not a sprint. And you have to build a workflow that prevents burnout so you can get that large sample size.
Hook, retention, optimization, sustainability. It sounds so simple when you put it like that.
Simple, but not easy. It's simple physics, but the execution is incredibly hard.
And I just want to leave everyone with one final thought. Something that really struck me looking at all these 2026 updates together. We see the removal of the view count filter in search. We see the rise of relevance as the key sorting principle. We see mandatory AI disclosure to protect authenticity.
It feels like the platform is growing up. It's maturing.
Exactly. And it makes me wonder, are we finally entering an era where genuine quality and viewer-focused authenticity might finally beat cheap virality? Is the era of just gaming the system with hacks and tricks finally ending, replaced by an era of simply serving the viewer?
It's a really provocative thought. The algorithm is getting smarter than the hacks. And eventually, the only hack left might be just being genuinely good at what you do and truly connecting with an audience.
Imagine that. Being good, what a concept. For everyone listening, go open up your analytics. Find that viewed versus swipe number. Don't be scared of it. Use it as your guide. And just start experimenting. Thanks so much for diving deep with us.
Happy creating.